Welcome to this special episode about Book IOCon 2024. The aim of this episode is to go through every single presentation that happened on that day and give you the short summary of it. This is for people who couldn't attend or people who just want a reminder of all the great things that were said. I will not touch on any other topics like Beard, the latest X space or any kind of mints. It's 100% about the con. Everything will be timestamped, so feel free to move onto the presentations that garner your interest. Let's get onto it. And we're starting off strong with a heavy hitter with Charles Hoskinson, who led the first presentation of the day. He touched on many topics. In general, he was talking about taking out the middlemen, that they are the people who make money out of the creatives. They're the ones who control the different communication and distribution channels, so they decide what is popular, and all in all, this hurts creativity. So he was making this parallel with blockchain, basically, that it's about decentralizing, pushing the power to the edge. Then he invited on the stage the co-author of the book he wrote about his ranch, and they rambled about it quite a long time. I mean, it was interesting. The ranch that he bought is deeply rooted in the history of the United States, but it was not really about blockchain. So some people I know were not very happy with that. But nonetheless, it was a good point in the sense that he's talking about history and how do you look up things, like what happened on that ranch, where you have to look for archives. And those archives, are they preserved? Where are they? Who gathered them? Is it the truth? So there is a parallel with Book.io in the sense that by putting things on the blockchain, we put things as they were and from all perspectives. It's kind of this idea that history is written by the winners. Well, if you have both sides, then everything is somehow more fair, more true, and people can make their own opinion. People now, but also the future generations. So that was quite interesting. And he had a one-liner that was really cool. He said, if for some reason it doesn't make sense, it's because somebody's making money. And that was kind of a life lesson in there. So basically, talking about his ranch history, the book he writes should be published this year on Book.io. And I think there's potential there because he has a huge audience. People who are not into NFTs at all, maybe they will hear about it and hear about book at the same time. So I would say that all in all, it was a more of a philosophical presentation and a lot about his ranch. The next presentation was really good. It was with Daphne Higgs, the lawyer for book, but also Joe Nassise, one of the first authors who minted with Book.io. And it was super interesting because we got to learn a lot about the publishing world. How does it work? So I took some notes. By the way, you can see Joe, he's on the right on this picture. He's working the Book.io hoodie. So I also appreciate that he got so much. I took some notes and listen to this. So Joe said, publishing industry doesn't always have your best interest at heart. So that sets the tone. They are not your friends. If you're an upcoming author, you're like, I want to be published. Well, it's business. It's not for the art or whatever. So then he was explaining that when they license the book rights to the publisher, they don't know who bought the book afterwards and how many copies they sold up until between 6 and 18 months later. So there's a big delay between the time they sell the licensing rights and the time they get any kind of visibility on how much they sold. And that's a huge difference with blockchain, because on blockchain, you see it directly, who bought what, how many copies, and more importantly, you get paid instantly because of the way the smart contracts work. So it works obviously for the primary sale proceeds, but also for the royalties on secondary market. So this is a huge advantage compared to the traditional publishing world. So he was giving an example that in publishing, he would be paid like 50k USD, split in 3 payments over 2 years. So can you imagine trying to make a living with 50k USD spread over 2 years? I mean, might be possible, in some countries or maybe remote areas of the US, but here we're talking 50k USD. This is a New York, bestseller, New York Times bestseller. He sold more than 1 million books. So a guy like that would get paid 50k. Debut novelist is between 3 and 5k. Can you imagine? It's your first book. You're like, oh, I'm so happy I'm gonna get published. And yeah, here, $3,000. Split over 2 years. Good luck. So that was like, wow. It's crazy to think that that's how it works. Like so little money for those people. And why is it so little money? Well, it's because ebooks are unlimited. It's unlimited supply. So if you have unlimited supply, then the price just goes down. And something terrible that he said is that he was explaining that before, because this guy has been writing for like 30 years maybe. So he was explaining that before, you would sell your rights and they would print X amount of books, and when the print ran out, then you get your rights back. And that was it, then you do whatever you want. But with ebooks, well, it never runs out. So apparently, the way it works is that there is a threshold. And let's say every 6 months, they need to sell at least, I say something completely random, like 200 copies of your book. And if they don't sell it, we consider they ran out and you get back your rights, okay? So what publishers are doing is that, when they get to the end of those 6 months and they didn't sell enough copies, they do like a mega discount sale where you can get the ebook for 99 cents. 99 cents. So of course they sell like a few hundreds on that day and then they keep the rights. So Joe was saying that basically the rights of this book that the publisher is selling super cheap every 6 months, he will probably never get them back. That's crazy to me. You create something, it comes out of your mind, out of your work, and it's not yours. They just, hold it indefinitely. That's revolting, like seriously. And here we talk about rights and we think about books, but what Joe was saying is that usually you don't only sell the book rights, they take the whole IP thing. So it can be book, it can be the characters. If there are some movies or TV series done based on the book, they still have those rights. So, and this is when the lawyer pitched in, like when you negotiate about your rights, selling your rights, you have to be super careful of what you're giving away. Publisher will try and take as much as possible. And it's not only a book, it's more than that. And then the other thing that Daphne, the lawyer, mentioned is that, it's really tough for her, very challenging to place book.io in the current copyright framework because, somehow it's limited like print, but somehow it's unlimited like ebooks. But more importantly, in traditional publishing, even with ebooks, you sell your rights for specific territories. So an English author could sell rights to a publisher for the US, to a different publisher for the UK, and so on. So it's something that doesn't work with blockchain because it's decentralized, everyone has access to it. So from her perspective, she liked the legal challenges that this innovation is posing. She was running to be careful, saying that authors have a huge disadvantage when negotiating with publishers. It shouldn't be, news to anyone, but it's a stark reminder that not everyone is your friend. So when it comes to book, that they don't buy your rights, no, you don't have exclusivity or anything, and you're paid instantly, and you get direct access to the people who bought, then it is a real solution to those creators. And Joe actually added a few more things here. He said that he's excited about adding extra content to his books. So think about commentaries, interviews, kind of like the bonuses you would get on a DVD, maybe more a few years back. And that, for instance, if you have the whole series, of course you can get an airdrop of a new book, but also just an interview of the author or something like that. So I really see that, he sees the potential that blockchain offers and that he wants to explore it. And you really feel that there is a world where there is no middleman. No book, they are just transforming your ebook into a DEA. You sell it, you get your money instantly, you don't lose any rights, it's yours, you do what you want. And you have your customers, they're yours, and you can get access to them, so sell them more things or give them more things. And as a creator, you're in control. And hopefully you will make more money than with a traditional publisher. So this talk was excellent. It was really good to learn more and to see that book is solving a real problem. There are thousands of authors waiting in line to publish with book, so these people understand. And how many more will come? Kindle has supposedly 1 million independent authors. I'm sure they will all be interested in book. So, great talk, and I had the chance to talk with Joe a bit. So I appreciate him making time, coming to the con, talking to everyone. He's an OG, basically. OG author, in a sense. So that was really an awesome moment. The next panelist was Keith Riegert. He represented the publishers. So he actually works for 2 publishers, if memory serves, VEVO and Ulysses Press. And, well, you may know him because he's the guy who got us the psychedelic handbook. So thanks, Keith, for that. And he was kind of interviewed by Claire Israel, who is the book employee who is in charge of the relationship with the publishers. And he had a few interesting things to say. First of all, he says that, the big 5, they're super slow to move. That Kindle was released in 2007 and that it took them like 10 years to get onto it. And then he said that the next 10 years they spent just trying to get back the rights they, leniently gave away during that time. So now, other things that he said that were interesting was that, they print 1 million books per year. So the publishers that he represents, they are quite strong in that sense. And he thinks that books are undervalued. Again, this idea that you have something, like you read, and an idea that have so much power, it can literally change the world. That's no coincidence that some books are banned. So he said that for him it's super undervalued, and that, again, because of this ebook thing that you have unlimited supply, then the prices are super cheap. He had a great example because he was talking about how print is not going to disappear. And to prove his point, he talked about the book that Michelle Obama released. And, long story short, it sold massively in print, but it almost didn't sell in ebook. Why? Because people want to show that they have it, and they also want to get it signed when they go to those book tours. And in his opinion, the fact that book.io has those special covers that you actually own it replicates somehow those properties that printed books have. So this huge book by Michelle Obama that almost didn't sell in ebook, he was hinting that it would have probably sold more in DEA, in book.io type of book. So that's something that I personally didn't realize, that some books sell way more in print than in electronic version, even if it's more expensive in print and so on. But it is a thing. So looks like book.io may also cater to those people in a sense. And finally, he had some alpha. He said that he signed a thriller by the creator of Comedy Central, and that he will make the digital version with book.io, and the print he will do with the publishers he represents. So I don't know who the creator of Comedy Central is, but that should get us some eyeballs. So it was a pretty good talk. It's nice to see publishers showing up. And he was saying that as a small publisher, he's actually more agile than the big five, so he can experiment, and he's super bullish on book. He sits at the board of NYU, so that's how he got Josh to talk in there. And actually, there's one last thing I see in my notes, is that this is Claire that shared the information. She said that apparently we signed a strong mid-tier publisher, and that the way it works is that it's always the smaller ones, the mid-tier ones that are agile, are trying new things, and then when something is new and that those people are doing it, then the big five are looking into it. So basically we have a strong mid-tier publisher, and this publisher will serve as a stepping stone to convince the big five. So there is no specific date, we don't know who this mid-tier publisher is, but it's good to know that there's something in the pipeline, and that, okay, big five will move slow, but we can get publishers like Keynote that print 1 million books per year. I mean, can you imagine selling 1 million NFTs? Because that's what we are talking about. It's this kind of scale. So it was nice to see a publisher showing support, showing up at the con, and sharing their perspective. The next presentation was about offers in Web3. So people who don't come from the traditional world, but directly started with Web3 and with book. So we had a few guests. So here you can see Michael, who published Black Financial Culture, and he shared his perspective. There are also the Wizard team's writers, so Team Canada and Joseph Eliam, if I recall correctly. And it was interesting to see this new wave of offers. How does it work for them? What struck me is how humble they were. They were like super grateful. Yeah, you can see the Wizard team in his costume here. So they were super grateful for the opportunity. Like Michael was basically saying, like, a book is a business, and if they wanted me to wait 1 year or 2 years before being published, I would have waited, because there are probably better guys, better offers that would bring more attention to the project. Like, he was so humble. It was so nice to hear. And then, well, they talked about different aspects. So Michael touched on the fact that if you want to write a book, what is really important is to be consistent. That everyone can write, but not everyone can finish the actual book. So that was his advice for new upcoming authors. And also he talked about his own experience, how, well, for him writing is an art, and you shouldn't care about what people think. He said that at the beginning, when he started writing, he was using some colorful language, and that he got some remarks from his entourage, and at the end he was like, just, okay, I don't care anymore, I do it the way I want to do. And so what Web3 and kind of self-publishing gives you is this freedom. No censorship, no one to tell you how you should write it. No, you need to be sensitive depending on the current trend, or you should write about a specific topic because that's what sells, whatever. So Web3 gives you freedom. And then he shared some more things, like at the beginning he wanted to go with a traditional publisher, and the publisher asked him for 30k USD to help with doing the cover, doing the promotion, distributing in brick and mortar bookshops. And he was like, no thanks. So he did everything himself, although I guess the cover it's probably Billy from work who did it. But generally speaking, he decided to take things in his own hands. And as a matter of fact, he knows some author who also helped him navigate, this whole process. There was a funny thing that he said, is that even though he was trying not to care about what people think, he still did the mom test. He said that his mom read his book, and if she wouldn't have liked it, then he wouldn't have published it. So it's kind of funny that the mom tests also exist for authors. Funnily enough, Wizard Tim said that he would never do the mom test because of the topics that he's touching on in his book. It's kind of South Park kind of humor, so it was also funny to hear the counter perspective. What Wizard Tim shared was that, they didn't want to go with a traditional publisher, given that they really needed this freedom of writing. So they created their own community and they got support. And for them, Web3, it's the benefit of Web3 that you can find people who can support you. That if you go for a traditional publisher, you don't know who's buying your book. So, you don't have any community almost, especially for debut authors. But with Web3, he created the community, he found people who like the same kind of humor, and then he published. And he said that with the book, I guess the one he published on book.io, he made 60k USD. Now, if you remember earlier, I said that debut novelist has an advance between 3 and 5k split over 2 years. With Tim, they made 60k in, I don't know how long it took them to sell out, but maybe a week or so. So completely different game. And on top of that, they retain the rights, they retain access to the community. So it's just perfect. I'm sorry, the video keeps buffering. I'm not sure why, if it's my internet or just the server that is far away. I hope it's not too distracting. I'm looking at my notes, and there was another interesting info from Michael. He was saying that, so on Kindle, there are way more things to set up, and also more requirements in the type of file you send and so on. Plus you need to choose in which territories you want to sell, and you have to do your own marketing. He said that with book it was much easier, that he was dealing with Mansky. Mansky was super responsive. So also the experience in this relationship was better. So now I realize that Michael published with Kindle before. So he's not he doesn't come from Web3, it's just his last book that comes from it. And what he was also saying is that with Kindle, basically you have a 1 month delay in your payment with ebooks. So you sell, and then at the end of the next month you get the numbers and your pay. And he's in financial culture, so he understands the value of money. And if basically you have a 1 month delay where you cannot do anything with your money, then you lose on some opportunity in there. What was also fun to learn is that Michael he teaches a class about blockchain, I think at Georgia's University, and he invited Wizard Tim to talk about book and his blockchain experience in there. And Michael is doing God's work. I think he onboarded more than 50 people onto book. So a lot of students, I imagine. So it is possible. Get people on board, especially with Beard now that is available. So to quickly sum up about what Web3 allows you to do, it's freedom to talk about what you want. You can create your community, find people that have the same vibe as you, and then you can leverage this community. You have direct access. So Wizard Tim sold the book, but then he airdropped a pie recipe, and yes, the alpha. The audiobook of Wizard Tim will drop this month, April 2024. So it's also a different thing that you can do only with Web3, is giving additional content. The next presentation was by Hugghings to talk about growth in Web3. He's the chief of growth of Fleet, which is currently AWS on blockchain, so decentralized storage, these kind of things. But he held an important position in Polygon before, and that was really eye-opening because he told us about 2021, the NFT craze, and how every brand was coming to him, let's do some NFT. And he gave some names. So Nike, Meta, Starbucks, Disney, Bentley, Adidas. So a lot of them came, let's mint NFTs. Like, people wouldn't care, as long as it's an NFT and it's a brand, then people are gonna buy. That was the mindset. And he said that he did crazy stuff, like he was on a purple Bentley on Times Square to promote the Bentley NFT. That never happened. And he had this crazy case, I forgot the name of the project, but basically it was a project that had all IPs you could imagine, like CBS, Mission Impossible, whatever famous sitcom or whatever, they had it. They had everything. And they decided to mint. And when people were asking them, okay, so what's next? Like, well, we're gonna mint some more IPs. And basically, it just didn't make sense. They're minting for the sake of minting NFTs. And the lesson learned from all of this craze, but first, is that Polygon has way better connections with brands than Cardano, at least from what I see. And the other thing is that, you can't just put a blockchain on a project and hope that it's gonna work. It worked when it was crazy before, but now it doesn't cut it. So from his perspective, Book.io has a real use case. They use blockchain as technology in the background to promote a service, to offer a service. So in that sense, it was quite encouraging, to get the vision from someone who has worked with many brands who are just doing complete nonsense with NFTs. Now we have a company that has a use case and that is not chasing a narrative. Because once the NFT craze died, then nothing happened. He said that, I don't know how many companies he quoted or he mentioned, maybe like 10 of them, and he was saying half of them, like the projects are dead, like nothing happened, even though they are big names. So Book.io not chasing narratives is a good thing. It makes sense. It's a book market. Yeah, no bear, no bull. People will always read. So it's much smarter to do it that way. So that was his presentation. It was quite short, like 15 minutes, but still interesting. Then there was a panel discussion about mass adoption for blockchain. So Guillermo, VP of Engineering at Book, was leading that. And you can see on screen Travis Bailey from JPG.store and Patrick Tobler from NMKR. And it was quite straightforward. Basically, there's too much friction at the moment for mass adoption. It's just too complicated. You can ask people to set up a wallet, remember a seed phrase. It just doesn't work. We also mentioned some headwinds coming from the bad PR that crypto suffers from. Remember FTX? Well, that's just one of the big ones. We also mentioned legal issues, that it's very hard to make business or create a business in crypto because, the law is not the same everywhere. And when you do something, you have to think, am I breaking the law? So what you want to do as an entrepreneur is to provide a service, provide a solution, and your own government kind of is blocking you from that, not providing any clarity and so on. So NMKR, for instance, is based in Switzerland for that reason. So Patrick Tauber is German, but went to Switzerland because the legal framework was more friendly than in Germany. But overall, they were positive. They said that the NFT craze was kind of an anomaly, that usually in new industries they progress slowly, they spread slowly, but this NFT thing was just, people were at home, they got this money for COVID, and they just decided to gamble. So he said that, this is not how it usually works. And now kind of all those NFT projects, like NFT for the sake of NFT, they are dead. And now we get to the real projects, like Book. So the second wave of projects, they make more sense, they provide real utility, and should help get to mass adoption. So NMKR, they're talking about the fact that they provide the infrastructure for Book. So when you mint a book and you're on Parliament, this queuing system, it uses NMKR in the background. So we have this. We also have a credit card payment with Book, but actually NMKR also have their own module for that. So that's kind of the idea. Make it in a way that is kind of easier to participate, pay by credit card. Now you have self-directed wallets in Book. Social logins are coming very, very soon. So we need to remove this friction, make it like a Web 2 experience. And we don't need to be different in the experience. That's what people are used to. It's just easier for them this way. And the last thing that I think was worth mentioning is that NMKR was saying that what's great is that we just had a bear market, or we could argue we're still in it, and you have a lot of Cardano projects that have been grinding all that time. So NMKR, JPEG, Book, they talk to each other all the time. So when they have an idea, when they need to improve something, it's much easier to get the others on board. So while we don't have mass adoption yet, those relationships between projects are really strong. So when the masses will come, then we will be ready, we'll be agile, flexible to adapt our ecosystem, improve our ecosystem to welcome them. This was one of my favorite talks. It was Sheila together with Zhanji, one of the AI engineers. And they talked about AI. And it was super interesting because what Zhanji is doing is God's work. It's a mix of AI, automation, engineering. It's completely new job actually. So to give some background, Zhanji is not random. Like he has 15 years of work in television. So he was working on shows like Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Ancient Aliens, for Netflix as well. And his story is quite interesting because, he was working in there and basically it's too much work. There's too much to do. So he started thinking, okay, how can I automate things? So he learned Java, then Python. And when AI came out with Stable Diffusion, he created a YouTube channel that would publish 75 AI-generated videos per day. He said it was his pet project. There's a new technology, he likes to dabble with it, learn, and that's how he does it. He's someone who's very open-minded and a stark defender of AI. That was quite interesting because, we all know that AI-generated art has its detractors, but who are those people? And for me, it's kind of hard to argue with them because, I'm not an artist, I'm not sure how it works. But Zhanji, he knows. And so what are the arguments to use? He was saying that when he was working for Netflix, he was working 18 hours per day. 18 hours per day, like for a full month, for whatever episode to be taken care of. He said, if you want to support creatives, you have to support AI. because it's not alive. It's too hard on them. It's just not possible. And I'll do a little digression here, but if you are into anime, there was some issue with a famous anime called Jujutsu Kaisen, where animators were complaining that they had too much work. And I'm not sure if it led to things like depression and even suicide, but they were really crying for help. So the pressure that those people have, no, they are professionals, no, they are expected to produce all the time. So the pressure they have is something that people seem to completely overlook. So AI is just a tool to help them work faster so that they don't have to stay 18 hours per day at work. And I mean, just for that, I think it's fair. I care about the well-being of artists. And then he was saying that he's kind of fighting the angry mob on Reddit, and that most people who don't like AI art, they're not even artists. So he's like, no, they don't know what it's like. And the other thing he said is that when he does get to talk with artists, they're kind of afraid. He feels like, basically, what I understood, these were not his words, but the way I see it is that those artists, they are fragile. They are not self-confident or confident in their own skills. So they see AI, they are scared, and so they're scared they're not going to be anything special anymore, and that they're going to be irrelevant. That's what's happening. For Zhanji, it's completely different. He sees a new tool that he can use to do new things and to do things faster. So it's just one of many tools. He said that when AI appeared, it didn't take anything away from his 20 years of experience. It was just a new tool that he could use. All the experience he got is still relevant. Everything that he works with, like 3D, Blender, software and things like this. So I really enjoyed having the perspective of a professional artist using AI, because this gives me the arguments to talk with people who are just afraid, that people who are irrational about it. So that was really enlightening. Then he was talking about his work at Book, how he's just looking at, okay, where is the bottleneck? How can I automate, do things faster? And to give you an idea, at the beginning, before he joined, to publish a book on book.io, to do all the art, it would take 2 days per chain. So let's say we do one book on Cardano, then it's 2 days of work. And that's why we used to have only a couple of minutes per week. But then he came in, and now it is 40 minutes of work. Careful, I'm not saying it's 40 minutes to generate all covers and curate everything and Photoshop everything. I'm just saying that the automation steps that he added cut the time down from 2 days to 40 minutes. And that's why we have 5 minutes a week currently. But it's super important, because all this work that he's doing, all this automation, is gonna be available in a sense in the self-publishing portal. So this was quite amazing, to be honest. So the way it works is that, let's say you're an author, you want to self-publish. It's gonna take your book, feed it into the AI, and the AI will generate hundreds of prompts. Because the AI will understand like the key moments in the book, the key characters, and it's gonna give you prompts. And then you as an author, you take that, bring it to Midjourney, and you can create your own covers. And then, you have to work on them a little bit more to have exactly what you need. So then you don't need to pay an artist to do your cover. To do a cover, like for a book, traditionally, it costs between $3,000 and $10,000. I mean, you're a new author, you may not have that money, so what are you gonna do? So AI is basically democratizing or access to publishing. So that was quite eye-opening, and he added something there that is very important. As you may know, AI works with what is called a large language model. Basically, everything you feed to the AI, well, it will remember it and use it for the future. But they were very clear that the AI they use for book is localized, is their own server. So if you're an author, you give your book to book, yes, it's going to be fed to the AI, but it stays with book. It doesn't go through like stable diffusion that is available to everyone. So I think that was important to mention. And talking about stable diffusion and the feeding the AI, we're talking how Billy, who was not at the panel discussion unfortunately, the AI artist, how Billy actually created his own way to train the AI so that you don't have 18 fingers on one hand and things like this. So it's really interesting that they're taking this technology, applying the technical skills and creative skills to be able to produce that many awesome covers. So really good talk, really glad. Zhanji doesn't get a lot of spotlight like on Discord and so on, but his work is really instrumental. So give him some props, some credit next time you see him on Discord, because he deserves it. The next presentation was with Brian Dauphin, the CFO of Ingram's content group. So one of the main investors behind book.io. It was really good, really insightful, because you're talking with someone who has 25 years of experience in the industry. And this guy is backing book. Look at this slide. He's explaining that the book market has always been disrupted eventually. That it started with independent booksellers, then national book chains came, then internet book retailers, that's Amazon, then digital books. COVID was a great time for the book market because people were stuck at home, they got extra money, they got into reading. Then later you had the growth in audiobooks, and he thinks that what comes next is book. So you have a guy who has been in the industry for decades, who has seen it all, who tells you book is what's next. I mean, it's a paradigm shift. Again, we came from independent booksellers to then internet book retailers, and then ebooks, and then audiobooks. So each of those are really massive changes in the industry. And in his opinion, I would say in his expert opinion, book is next. So that was super bullish to hear. Ingram is a huge company, they do a lot of stuff. He was showing videos about how they have warehouses with robots that basically move the books around. Crazy stuff. But I'll get to the gold nuggets that he shared. First, they have a self-publishing platform at Ingram, and they have 5,000 offers coming in every month. So just this, I would go all in on the book token. I mean, I'm already all in, but can you imagine 5,000 new offers or maybe new books every month, like self-publishing? And now imagine when, I don't know how it's gonna work, but is there a world where they print with Ingram and do the digital version with book? I think it's entirely possible. Ingram has money in book, they want it back eventually. So think about that. 5,000 people buying book tokens every month. That's super optimistic. Then, he was saying that he had this example that during COVID, Amazon was super busy with, sending out hand sanitizers, toilet paper, things like that. So they couldn't take care of the books. So they asked Ingram to do it. And he had this crazy example. There's an author called Colleen Hoover. She's a romance author. And she published a book. And now, guess how many books she sold in 1 month? 3 million books. 3 million. The scale of the industry is completely, radically different from the crypto bubble. Can you imagine? I mean, we're not even selling out sometimes something that's like 2,000 copies, and you have an offer coming in, boom, 3 million books, and printed books. So, a bit more expensive than your ebook. So, wow, just wow, that was amazing. And then he also released this slide here. So the quality is quite poor, but hopefully you can read it. And again, so this is Ingram telling you how book is solving all the problems. So we go from licensing to actual ownership. We go to DRMs, digital rights management, to DEAs. We go to creators only making money on primary sale, to making money on primary sale and on secondary market, and so on, so on. For me, it was so awesome to hear someone who, I'm gonna say it. You go on X and people talk like they know everything. Like they chill, whatever. So you believe you get influenced, whatever, I don't care. My point is that here you have a guy who is the CFO of a multi-billion-dollar company who has decades of experience, and this guy is telling you book is the future, and that's why we invested in it. So I don't care about Shilmo Baggins or whoever else, or Bison when he was feeding. It's noise. These are nobodies. This guy is someone. This is a guy I respect. So end of rant, but I think it's important to understand that at this con we had some people from blockchain, but a lot of people from outside, and people who are experts, people who, like Ingram here, 3 million books sold in 1 month for one offer. And you're gonna tell me that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about? So I really appreciated that Brian Dauphin came to the con to support book and instill confidence to everyone in the audience. Not even confidence, but really a bullish sentiment. And I hope you watching this will also realize that. NFA, trade responsibly and all, but still, it's awesome to get this kind of support, not only the money, but also the vision. The same way the CFO of Ingram is expert of books, you had Caraeff, who is expert in music. So to give his pedigree, he worked at Sony and he co-invented the music licensing framework that is used by 750 million people. So he said, I quote, "I am part of the problem." And he worked at Capitol Records. He's the ex-CEO of VEVO. He worked at Universal as well. He comes from a family of musicians. I mean, not musicians, but a photographer in music. So he's deeply rooted in that industry. He's seen it all. And what does he have to say? So he had a few bangers. He said that what happened is that we're replacing analog dollars with digital pennies. So once we went from material CDs, vinyls, to songs that you can just download or just listen to, then we lost a lot of value. He said that for him to have this unlimited access via streaming is good when you want to try things, but you do lose something. You lose this connection, this intimacy with the media and the artist. And then when he was asked about the future of music, and his perspective was really interesting because he said to zoom out. Look in the past, look 1,000 years back in the past. Well, at that time you still had music, you still had books too. He said that there's something that is ingrained in human DNA for liking storytelling, music. He said that when you put music to your toddler and he starts dancing, well, it's because there's something in there that is this kind of connection to the soul. And basically, his idea is that any business that is built on that principle, that is connected directly with the human condition, then it's a good idea for a business. Another one-liner that was good was that the future is really already here, it's just unevenly distributed. So here I'm thinking about book. Book exists, it's on the fringe, just people don't know about it. But once it spreads, I say book, but I also say stuff. We know that music is gonna come to stuff.io. So we are the future, we are early, literally. So that was pretty cool. Then he gave some advice to creators. He said that you can't take the old playbook of the past. It's not like you rent a studio, you make music, you make your album, you sell your album, and you make a living out of it. He said that you need to have multiple revenue streams, selling music, of course, but then touring, merch, video game music was another one. And that the problem, if you remember the conversation about IP rights with the lawyer, is that, well, usually people sell everything. So you're giving away all those revenue streams when you sell all your rights. And so the conclusion of that was that it's better to have a smaller audience, but with direct access to them. So then you get a better share because no middlemen, but also you can sell them different things, and you may be able to make a living like that. However, it's not easy. Another quote from him is, "You gotta be accountable for your destiny." So it's not like you can just release your book or your album or whatever and like, hey, I did my job and it's done. It's not like this. He had this crazy example where I guess he was working at Universal at that time, and they had an issue with piracy, that people were just copying the CDs into MP3 files, then sharing online, and that was it. And said that at that time he had a meeting with Intel, so some senior exec at Intel, to ask, hey, can you help us? Is there anything you can do? And Intel said, "You're fucked. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. That's just how it is." So, don't look for help if you're a creative. Do everything yourself, because you're the only person who has your own best interest at heart. And then just to finish on that speech that he had, he was also asked about owning his own stuff. And he talked about how he had to move, I think, 8 times in 10 years, that he had thousands of CDs, thousands of books, and that at some point he just stopped unpacking them because it was too bothersome, and he ended up selling everything. And that he feels empty. He feels a hole in there. So in his whole speech, he never really mentioned that he's bullish on book and what book is doing is right. But he mentioned those things that he feels, and you could connect the dots, basically. If you own your stuff, you get this direct connection to the material, to the artist, and you don't feel like you lose anything. Yeah. So it looks like, from his perspective, even if he didn't say it plainly, book and stuff, they are on the right path. Again, someone with dozens of years of experience in music telling you or hinting that what book is doing is the future. Yeah, that's a win for me. And last but not least was Josh Keynote at the end of the BookCon. He talked about many things. You can see his presentation here, pretty lively. But he had a few announcements. First of all, there's a new advisor, John Hayden, who used to be a senior executive for Walmart. And he's now the CEO of the largest Christian media and music provider, David C. Cook. So they onboarded yet another advisor with a lot of experience, And well, CEO of a media company is very good to have for stuff. Then he had a quick announcement about Pez. Pez is a junior automation engineer. He announced that Pez would be hired full-time. So congrats, Pez. I got to work with him during the con. And well, he's a cool guy, super dedicated, drinks way too many Red Bulls, like super invested, super hardworking. So good addition to the team. And why is it interesting? Because what he does, all this automation stuff, is directly related to the self-publishing portal. So it means now we have permanent resources to work on this. I do hope it will be this year, but in any case, work is in progress. Well, then Josh talked about how he was pumped about the fact that the community was here from different states, different countries, even different industries. That's super excited about the fact that Book is creating jobs that didn't exist before, like what Zhanji is doing, kind of AI automation thing. So they're really on the front lines of innovation, and that's exciting. He actually talked about Beard. So Beard is a fungible token, which is a book to be used to onboard people. And during the con, at the back of attendees' badges, there was a QR code that they could scan to mint some Beard. And at the time of the presentation, I think 4.4 billion units were sold. And now that the mint is done, we know that we had, I think, 9.6 billion books sold, which makes it the most sold books ever. Most sold book, ever. So let's contact the Guinness Book of Records and tell them. And the beauty of blockchain is that we have the receipt, so we can prove that we sold that much. So that was a great marketing experiment. It was fun because the con was on Saturday, and they had this idea Tuesday, the same week. It just shows you how fast they can execute. And how, even if they have a roadmap, I feel like anytime they can jump some new social experiment on us. Then, he talked about the classic stuff, how your bookshelf value on Kindle is 0, that you don't own anything. And also that if you don't own your rights, then people can do whatever they want with them. It was this example with Nietzsche, who had this concept of Übermensch. So I don't know what's it in English, but basically becoming a better man. I mean, for the sake of being a better person, yes. But then he died. His sister got the rights to the book. She was a Nazi sympathizer. And she just used the Übermensch concept as philosophical baseline for Nazis. So that Nazis, they are the Übermensch. So very important to control your rights. And then he had this slide that you see here, which is the comparison of crypto wallets, the whole crypto world, not only Cardano, with the number of ebook customers. And crypto wallets is the super niche. It's really a bubble. So this is, again, it resonates with what was said before, like Ingram, who sold 3 million books of a single offer in a month. It's a completely different game. Like, the numbers we see now, they are minuscule. It's nothing. In the whole scheme of things, it's nothing. And we're like, oh, it doesn't sell out, or it's third, whatever. It's noise. So this was with ebook. And then he had another slide that was wallets, ebooks, and all stuff that you can put on chain, meaning audio, music, videos. And one thing he talked about in particular was coupons. I know it doesn't sound super sexy, but coupons, apparently 175 billion of them are printed every year. Yeah, that's the picture. So you see the Earth is books. The sun is everything else we can put in stuff.io. The potential is we cannot even fathom. So yeah, to come back to coupons, so 175 billions per year are printed, and then we just lose track of them. And how cool would it be if you could just go on chain? No, you want to buy something, and let's buy a coupon from someone on chain, so I can use it to buy, I don't know, a fridge or whatever. Another thing that I definitely didn't think about, but it's so smart, is about working with law enforcement. That, well, a lot of evidence is digital now, like emails, text, whatever. And those are stored on centralized servers. I don't know, Microsoft Azure, AWS, whatever. How do you know that those people are not accessing the evidence? I'm not saying they're gonna tamper with it, but maybe someone can get access to evidence before it's shared in the trail. Like you see, there's room here for some shenanigans. Stuff.io can fix this, because we could imagine that the evidence is encrypted, sharded, stored like this in a decentralized way, and only the person who has the NFT can see it. So we could imagine that only the judge, for instance, has it, or something like that. So this is a use case that I definitely didn't see coming. But when you start thinking about all the documents that exist, I mean, the sky's the limit. I would say the universe is the limit. Another thing he mentioned, and that was really interesting, was about photos, pictures that we have. How our most precious things are memories, and those memories, we save them forever in those pictures and so on. He was arguing that it's way harder to lose all your memorabilia, all your pictures and videos, rather than having like losing your car or your house burns down or something. And I kind of agree with that. Like, who are you? Like, what proof do you have of your time here if you didn't leave anything here? And especially with people like kids, I know they take a ton of pictures and they want to remember those times, and then imagine someone takes that away. With stuff, it may not disappear that easily, while you retain privacy of it. Only you have access. So a lot of use cases there, a lot of potential. And then he talked about this idea that our most precious resource is time. That is the thing that we cannot make more of. And that advertising is basically stealing our time. And that there was a time where people didn't mind, because you would buy a television, you'd have free access to movies and so on. And so the counterpart is to watch some ads, okay. But now we get to a point where you have Amazon, you buy Amazon Prime, so you pay a subscription, and you still have ads. And this disrupts the creative work that you pay for and you want to consume. And that was interesting in the sense that I wonder how book and stuff are gonna do it. If you remember, one of the use case for the book token is to advertise with book. And I wonder how it's gonna work. Is it just maybe being like on top of the web page, on the book web page when you look for a book? Is it something like that? I don't know. The example he gave, you may have heard about it, is how Snoop Dogg had 1 billion streams on Spotify. 1 billion. Crazy. And he only made 45,000 USD out of it. Now imagine you're a new artist. How much money are you gonna make? Nothing. Like literally nothing. So he was saying that current systems don't work for creators and they don't work for consumers. And that's where stuff comes in. He reassured that book is not going anywhere. No, these two different companies, but they work hand in hand, just different media types. And the vision of stuff is that in the current model, you have artists who only release singles. Because they just want to release a single, have as many streams as possible and make money, and then they just release the next single. So instead of having that, which is very money centric, they want to create a world where artists have freedom to create. I remember like one of my favorite albums is Iron Maiden's Seventh Son of Seventh Son from 1988, and it's the concept album. So it's like 45 minutes, you listen to it and it tells you a story. And that's what they want in stuff. They want people to create a whole experience. So not only an album, which should be really a basic thing, but they could add pictures in there, or illustrations, some artwork, maybe music videos, maybe behind the scenes of some, I don't know, recording sessions, maybe some interview. How did they come up with that song, with that concept, with those lyrics? Could go even further, that if you have the NFT, let's say you buy the NFT album, then you get whitelists to buy merch or to buy tickets to a concert. So what Stuff promises, it's a much, much richer experience than what is available now. And well, when is Stuff gonna happen? Next month. That was the announcement. In May, we have Stuff, basic website, basic white paper. It's starting slowly, but here we are. Just quick digression. They said before, not during the con, that there is no Stuff token planned. They will do it if it makes sense. And yes, if there is a token, it will be different from the book one. But at that stage, it's not planned to even have a token. So just FYI, don't expect anything yet. Okay, and then it ended with something, I don't know if I will be able to see it here. Yeah, is that they put GoPros and microphones in the office to kind of document how they work. And the first episode of that, think a bit like The Office in a sense. First episode of that will be under 40 minutes, and it will be the first DEA of Stuff. So it's kind of exciting. It was kind of funny to watch this, the way they work. They are also thinking about doing airdrops of short form videos. So I guess that may be the first Stuff thing we buy is a video of The Office from book. Again, it's not scripted from what I understand, but maybe they're gonna do some stuff like this. It's more like a behind the scene. So it's gonna be fun to just feel closer to the team and see what they got cooking. And finally, Josh ended the keynote by thanking everyone, of course, but also mentioning that he had great conversations with many people, and some of them even leading to new products. So it was a super productive day. It was a celebration of everything that happened in those last 2 years, more or less, and already a lot of new things that come, like Stuff. And I think they may have mentioned as well that there will be a new version of the mobile app dropped next week, Monday, April 29th, and it will support audiobooks. On the book mobile app will support audiobooks. So that was also nice to hear. And that's it for this video. Now you know everything there is to know about the BookCon, even if you didn't attend. I'll just take a minute to share my own experience. It was amazing. Simple as that. And I'm not the only one saying it. I talked with Patrick Tobler from NMKR. He's been to many conferences, crypto conferences, and he said that this one was really good. A lot of people said that it didn't feel like a crypto conference. There are a lot of OGs who came with their partners, and even those partners were saying like, oh, I get it now. I get what Book is doing, and it's interesting. Look at the panelists. People who are not in crypto at all. So that event made me very confident for the future of Book. They have people from the industry who understand what's at stake, the vision, the potential, and who are ready to support Book The market is huge. Crypto is nothing next to it. And so that's for the guests, the supporters. But then I got to work directly with the book team. And well, obviously they're super, super nice people. But on top of that, they're really good at what they do and they're really dedicated. To give you an idea, the con was on Saturday. And the day before at the venue, there was a wedding. So the venue was free only on Saturday, the day of the con at 5 a.m. And they were there. So the day before there was VIP party, after party in some bar and all. The next day at 5 they were there to set up the merch and everything. So super hardworking people. And that's why I feel like we are in good hands. People who are so passionate, they're gonna make it. Just give them time. And yeah, last thing I want to say is just to thank everyone that I met there. Super nice people. A lot of people mentioned also that they appreciate my videos, and yeah, it felt really good. I do that for you to provide you value, and I'm glad you see it and you're thankful for that. This BookCon showed that the OG community is the best, and that Book has all those connections outside the crypto bubble that will help them grow to mass scale. So super bullish, super happy it happened. I'm sure I'm gonna go there again next year, and many OGs feel the same. A lot of people were like, it should have been longer. So really, really positive experience. They're also selling books there. I got my set, I got some merch, and yeah, waiting for the books to be airdropped to both virtual and physical attendees. It's supposed to happen this week, and we actually already have the names of the books. It was kind of leaked by Josh. I can retrieve this, I can give you the names. So it's Wealth of Nation, Ivanhoe, The Idiot, The Last Man, The Cosmic Computer, and Discourses. So these are the books. I'm not sure which tier gets which books, but yeah, that's in the cards for this week. All right, I'm wrapping up here. It was a long video. Thank you for sticking all the way. FYI, not available next week, so no video. It will be the next one in 2 weeks, where we'll get back to the usual weekly recap. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.